Yhwach vs GER is a topic I've been wanting to do for quite a while now, so I thought with the new forms of scaling for Jojosbizzareadventure and a new core of Bleach coming out this July, I thought I would put some of the strongest in their respective verses together and see who would truly win. I also wanted to say thank you to Jack for collaborating with me on this, and his channel will be linked in the description in the comment section down below. However, before I start off, make sure to subscribe as I am on the road to 10,000 subscribers, and it would be greatly appreciated. Also, make sure to pay attention to the things I say and why I state them, instead of just waiting for who I say is the overall winner of the versus battle. And lastly, but most importantly, enjoy. Now, there are many upon many ways to scale Yhwach, but I find the most easiest way to do so is off of characters such as isnt, Ichigo, and Ichibei, as Yhwach would do any of the feats they did within the series, however to a much higher and greater degree. So everything I'm about to say more or less applies to Yhwach to a greater extent, even though I'm talking about Ichigo or isnt. Ichigo, after attaining that of his Vsbattle form, would scale to that of Ukiura and the rest of the Espada. For some context, as the Espada are forbidden from releasing under the canopy of Las Noches due to being able to destroy it with things such as a simple Sarah or a first resurrection transformation. Keep in mind that not only is the interior of Las Noches bigger than that of the exterior, but Las Noches itself is said to have created an artificial sun within it, being able to illuminate all of Las Noches within it, with even having a day and night cycle presented within it. This is consistent at things such as the Soul Society being said to have numerous stars within it, and by proxy, as you would the living being a parallel world to the Soul Society, it would also have stars within it as well. This would mean that Ichigo at a low ball is star level, and at a consistent basis in scaling solar system level via the Ukiura scaling I've mentioned prior. This is the same second resurrection on Ukiura that works as a makeshift Bankai, giving an 100 times multiplier as stated by Kisuke Urahara. Keep in mind, Mugetsu Ichigo was stated in the 13 Blades databook to being the strongest thing within the series within that point in time. This would include things such as both the weakened and non-weakened Yamamoto, as well as the transcendent monster isnt. Keep in mind, isnt would scale above these versions of Ichigo and Yamamoto, as it was not only implied that he was going to evolve and transcend the final Getsuga Tensho, but the final Getsuga Tensho couldn't even one-shot isnt. Furthermore, this is the same isnt that in any version of Yamamoto, even the one that fought within the war who threatened the existence of the Soul Society. Again, this realm is shown to be multi-galactic inside within the novels, and even have a full day-night cycles within it, as seen in both the anime and manga continuities of the series. During the war arc, Grimmy, the self-proclaimed strongest Stern Ritter, was able to create that of a galaxy, or like other people try to say, outer space, using his shrift. For those who deny this and downplay Bleach, Grimmy's entire ability is to visualize and materialize said visualizations, or, as Grimmy says, turn imagination into reality. Ichigo would obviously scale above this in my proxy Yhwach, as this Bankai Kenpachi does scale below that of this version of Mugetsu Ichigo from the war arc, and Yhwach was shown on screen and in the manga being able to kill the said version of Kenpachi and a prior version of Kenpachi as well. So yes, it would be consistent that Ichigo is yes in fact at bare minimum galaxy level in the early war arc, and there's nothing that contradicts or disproves it. It's also stated by isnt that Yhwach did struggle with the full power True Horn of Salvation Bankai Ichigo more than he anticipated, and Yhwach doesn't even try to refute it. It implies he agrees. This will also mean that Yhwach does scale above every version of Ichigo up till now, meaning, as I said in the beginning of the video, any feat that Ichigo has, Yhwach does have. And yes, this is true, seeing how a Grand Ray Zero mixed with a Getsuga Tensho is able to damage the likes of Yhwach, who more or less, like I said, scales above the entirety of the verse. It's also stated within the Camp Furore light novels, which are canon, that Yhwach did in fact lose to not only Ichigo but isnt as well, and that Ichigo was strong enough to serve as the Soul King and hold together the three realms out together due to his sheer Ryatsu alone. And it's also stated countless times within the series that isnt does have more spiritual pressure and or Ryatsu than Ichigo, so he should scale to this. Yhwach would also scale above both of these characters, not only individual but together. Also, it took multiple upon multiple times to not only try to deactivate the Almighty, but beat Yhwach in general, meaning any feat or statement or showing isnt or Ichigo have during this point, Yhwach would inherently scale above. Yhwach would also fight the leader of the Zero Division, Ichibei Hyosube, who in the State Light novel is comparable to that of the entirety Gotei 13 as a whole, including a Prime Yamamoto, who is in fact star level to solar system level, as I said prior. It's also stated within the Hell arc that Yhwach did in fact lose to not only isnt and Ichigo, implying that Ichigo would have lost alone in the fight against Yhwach if it wasn't for the help and intervention of isnt. Ichibei has the ability to rewrite and manipulate anything his ink touches. Furthermore, anything his ink should touch also loses their name, either dead or alive. This would mean that his ability works on a spiritual level, which would completely neg someone like GER, as stands within JoJo are in fact made up of spiritual energy. This is stated multiple times within the series, and Yhwach was then able to overpower this with the Almighty. More on that later, and would then beat Ichibe. As for Yhwach's AP, I've already covered most of the consistent scaling in other Bleach related videos. However, for those who are new to the cosmology and cosmogony, I'll give a brief rundown of how strong Yhwach is, along with how fast he is as well. Within the first movie, Memories of Nobody, the Kyogoku is stated to be a hyperspace. A hyperspace by definition being a dimension or realm with more than 3 dimensions. This means that regardless of the spatial or temporality of the said dimension or Kyogoku, the Kyogoku would have to be 4-dimensional or 4D. Ichigo is not only able to destroy this realm completely, but exists within it, which would make him 4D Universal Plus as well. For those questioning the validity and the canonicity of this movie, it's stated within the manga to be extrapolated within the movie, but yet again within the Bleach Can't Figure Wrong World light novel. So yes, Yhwach would be universal, as he does scale over any version of Ichigo. People also like to make the argument that since Yhwach was going to destroy the 3 realms, that he therefore is universal. However, there's nothing supporting this other than a mistranslation and other things of the sort. Things like the Dangai and Mukin are really reliable, as the Mukin being stated to delude you into thinking it's infinite in the 13 Blades data book, and the Dangai being directly stated to have torrents of space and time being within it, thus affecting Ichigo and by proxy, Ichigo's dad. As for speed, however, a lot of Yhwach's speed feats do scale off of other characters such as Ichigo. In the late parts of the Soul Society arc in the data books, it's directly stated that Ichigo's Bankai makes him move at lightning speeds against Byakuya, which consistent seeing how Ichigo's Bankai power-up is shown to increase more of speed than any other baseline stat, which is shown within flash stepping against the aforementioned Byakuya, and then speed blitzing the said aforementioned Byakuya, which he couldn't do prior. Ichigo is then able to react and effortlessly dodge the Nagashion, which is stated to be a beam of light that transports hollows back to Wakamundo. Later on the Wakamundo arc, Ichigo was able to dodge the Sero. The Sero again in the data book being an extrapolation, stated to be a beam of light, which Ichigo is again effortlessly able to dodge. Even the likes of Ukiro's Lanza del Relambago, which scales to potentially 100 times above that of the base Sero via the aforementioned second resurrection scaling I provided prior within the video, and even prior espadas such as Ad and Yero is said to dodge sunlight early on within the Arankar arc against Rukia, and she's able to match his speed, and then later on overpower him. But Tempest, what about the Almighty? The Almighty, like Yhwach explains, is the ability to not only see the future like a massively greater and better precognition than normal, but to change and alter the said future. This is shown multiple times with Yhwach being able to do things such as break the Bankai of Ichigo twice. This ability would also be known as probability manipulation, changing the possibility and probability of said things in the future and the later future, given this said ability known as the Almighty. The ability is as so broken to the point where Yhwach can see quote-unquote endless possibilities. This would mean that Yhwach would be able to negate and change anything GER would be able to do, but with that being said, how would GER fare up against Yhwach?
Even to return to Zero's ability and its stats, there are some other abilities that I want to discuss to give you an understanding of GR's arsenal. Giorno possesses a lot of incredible abilities. In fact, some of them are arguably the best abilities Araki has ever come up with. With his inherent ability from Golden Experience, any attack thrown at these organisms that Giorno either creates or possesses is reflected back. So if the attack had enough force to break a leg, it would be reflected back, breaking the attacker's leg. If the attack was severe enough to kill the frog, it would also be reflected back. If Giorno is able to predict Jotaro's attacks and plant an animal there, he would end up winning the fight. He also possesses regeneration to the extent where he's able to fully heal his own limbs, regrowing them along with healing his crew's wounds. Giorno is able to overflow something with life energy, essentially aging them until they die, by simply overwhelming them with life energy as he did to a tree until it withered away. GR's ability description states that the strength or harm caused by the attack is reverted to 0. However, this ability or concept of returning to 0 only works if the opponent has been struck by GR's ability. The description itself indicates a cause and effect relationship, the cause being the activation of the ability and the effect being the reversion of any potential harm to GR, whether physical or conceptual. There is a second ability that allows GR to manipulate the fate of its opponent to the point where their deaths occur continuously an infinite number of times. To activate the second ability, GR has to kill its opponent, seen with Diavolo. The reason the return to 0 is able to stop Diavolo's epithet is because it's the direct opposite of the ability time skip. The stand arrow draws out what the heart desires the most. In Polnareff's case, it turned the abnormally fast stand into a slow guardian type that refuses anyone to acquire the arrow from him. It's also extrapolated by Dio in part 6 that the arrow draws out what you wish for, further justifying what Polnareff said earlier. Giorno's Requiem possessed the ability to drag back the time skip to its original action. The time skip doesn't erase time while Diavolo is inside of Epitaph, and we can draw the conclusion with empiricism. The background of the manga panels support the fact that time is still present because Mista's bullets are able to travel through space and still fire his gun. Velocity basically just means speed, speed being distance over time. To clarify if I wasn't clear earlier, the return to zero ability, regardless of whether or not it's conceptual or in the form of a visible physical attack, is limited by GR's speed. Now, how fast is GR? Golden Experience Requiem should logically scale to the characters it has fought or is considered stronger than. The only relevant characters in terms of speed I could think of are Diavolo, since Bucciarati and the other gang members struggle with characters who are shot regularly by revolver bullets. Diavolo is strong and arguably the fastest character in part 5. Depending on the scale, he could range from relativistic to faster and light. If you're confused about relativistic speed, it refers to the percentage of speed closer to the speed of light. For instance, 10 to 50% qualifies as relativistic speed, while relativistic plus is in the ranges of 50 to 100% of the speed of light. I mention a range because the manga and the anime versions of Diavolo's authentication scale to different speeds. In the anime, Diavolo is capable of someone reacting to Silver Chariot by time skipping right before the swing. In the manga, Diavolo is shown catching Silver Chariot off guard with his ability to time skip and see into the future. In both instances, he uses Epitaph to foresee the future, but it is more evident in the anime that the swing itself was invaded just before Diavolo struck. Silver Chariot in his base form should realistically be between light speed and faster than light. Golden Experience Requiem is not on par with Diavolo, should not be considered so, as Diavolo himself asserts that he is faster, and it is narratively implied that Diavolo's strikes are more devastating than Giorno's, as seen when he cleaves characters such as Bucciarati and bisects Polnareff with his punches. In contrast, GR's barrages of punches only inflict minor cuts. We do not know the exact speed of GR, as it only manages to land hits through the activation of its abilities while Diavolo is inside of Epitaph, searching for possibilities to win the fight. It would be logical to assume that GR's speed is somewhat relativistic to relativistic plus, since it can somewhat keep up with the antagonist who should scale to Diavolo's speed. If I'm being honest, GR simply has no good speed scale, and the one I offered is something that GR tarts should take as a consolation prize, because Diavolo is simply shocked by the outcome of RTZ and is somewhat restricted.
So with this being said, who would truly win, Giorno or Yhwach? Well, with GER's reversal ability being reliant upon speed, and since GER is fundamentally slower than that of Yhwach, Yhwach would win, and with the Almighty would solo all of JoJo's entirely. However, with this being said, and once again, thank you to Jack for collaborating with me on this, and his channel will be linked and found within the description and comment section down below. Make sure to join the Discord server as well, and also subscribe, as again, I am on the road to 10,000 subscribers. However, make sure to stay safe, make sure to have a nice rest of your day or night, and until next time, bye.